Anna, a 10-year-old girl, suddenly looked pregnant. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't fit into her biggest pants. Her mom, Christy, was surprised, but never imagined pregnancy. She comforted Anna, saying it was probably just indigestion, and medicine would fix it. But later that night, Anna started throwing up in the bathroom, just like morning sickness. Christy freaked out, gently rubbing Anna's back. Her dad, Kevin, quickly brought a towel, deciding they would rush Anna to the hospital first thing in the morning. But waiting made things worse. Anna's belly got bigger and bigger, and soon she was unconscious in the back seat. At the hospital, doctors ran a full checkup, but the results shocked everyone. All the scans looked normal, showing nothing unusual. Christy panicked, explaining that Anna was in constant pain, had been vomiting for weeks, and her stomach was severely bloated. How could that be normal? She asked. The doctor explained calmly. It's probably lactose intolerance causing indigestion. That's why her stomach suddenly bloated. Christy felt even more confused, but at least there was an answer. She and Kevin finally relaxed a bit. However, that same night, Christy woke up suddenly to Anna screaming and crying. She rushed upstairs into Anna's room and found Anna clutching her belly, rolling in pain, sweating heavily, terrified. They knew they couldn't wait another minute. They immediately got into the car and drove Anna straight to the biggest hospital in town. When they finally made it to the emergency room, a young doctor just shrugged and said Anna's symptoms were normal acid reflux after eating. He told them to just take more walks after meals, then turned around and started to leave. The couple chased him out into the hallway, begging the doctor to check Anna again. But the doctor got impatient and said, "If you don't trust me, just go to another hospital. Don't waste our time here." This time, Christy completely lost it. She grabbed the doctor, her eyes filling with tears like a mother lion protecting her cub, and told him how angry and scared she was.
You find me another doctor, you run some more tests. I'm not leaving this hospital until I know what's wrong with my daughter.
Seeing how determined they were, the doctor finally agreed to take another look and walked away reluctantly. The couple waited anxiously all night. Finally, at dawn, Dr. Burgi, the head of pediatrics, walked in and gave them the results. But the first thing out of his mouth left them stunned. Anna had a bowel obstruction, which meant her intestines were twisted and blocked. If she didn't have surgery right away, her life would be in danger. Before they could react, 2 nurses came in and started getting Anna ready for surgery. One nurse held up a tube and told Kevin they would need to put it through Anna's nose, and he would have to help hold Anna still. Even though they thought they were prepared, the next moments were way harder than they imagined.
There you go, there you go, there you go.
All the way until Anna was wheeled into the operating room, her parents felt numb and scared that something terrible might happen during surgery. Luckily, the operation ended quickly, but to their shock, Anna didn't get any better. Her condition actually got worse. It turned out during surgery, Dr. Burgi discovered Anna had a serious problem. Her intestines weren't moving food through at all. Her body just couldn't digest anything. The worst part? There was no real treatment for this disease. Anna could only survive by getting nutrition through a tube in her nose. Hearing that, Christy closed her eyes in pain, not daring to think about what her daughter's future would be like. She didn't even wait for the doctor to finish talking. She just stood up in a daze and walked out by herself. Life was harsh, but whether they accepted it or not, it still went on. From then on, Anna could only get nutrition through a feeding tube. Except for a bunch of colorful pills, she couldn't eat anything else. Christy tried to stay optimistic, but every time she saw Anna's face twisted in pain, it felt like a needle piercing her heart. Even though the doctor said there was no cure for Anna, her parents couldn't just stand by and watch their daughter suffer. Christy started calling every children's hospital she could find, while Kevin mortgaged their family farm and sold off most of their belongings just to pay for Anna's medical treatments. But after months of trying, it was like all those calls disappeared into thin air. Nobody ever called back. Even Christy, who had always been so optimistic, finally started to lose hope. She slumped down by the door, mumbling to herself, thinking maybe Anna's fate was just sealed. No matter how hard they tried, nothing would ever change. But just when Christy was about to give up, she caught a glimpse of her other daughter, Abby's disappointed eyes. That look reminded Christy, if parents gave up so easily, how could their kids ever learn to be brave in their own lives? With that thought, Christy stopped hesitating. The very next morning, she took Anna and got on a plane to Boston. There was a famous pediatric doctor there. They had never been able to get an appointment before, but this time, Christy decided to show up in person. She wasn't going to give up without a fight. But when the hospital staff saw this unexpected mother and daughter, even though they felt sorry for them, they still had to follow the rules. If they wanted to see a doctor, they had to make an appointment. The earliest available slot was at least 6 months away. Christy was already prepared for this. She took a deep breath, held back her tears, and quietly left the hospital with Anna. But just as they were about to go back home, Christy suddenly got a call from the hospital. They told her to bring Anna in for a checkup at 7 a.m. the next morning. Nobody knew why the hospital suddenly changed its mind, but Christy was over the moon. She couldn't stop smiling. The next morning, they finally met the top pediatric doctor in the country, Dr. Nurko. He said he couldn't completely cure Anna's illness, but he could give her special medicine to help her digest food so she wouldn't need the feeding tube anymore and could live a normal life. Hearing that, Christy let out a huge sigh of relief. Dr. Nurko's confident eyes made her feel hope again, something she hadn't felt in a long time. But then, the doctor suddenly changed his tone. He said the treatment was only a temporary fix, and the side effects were still unknown. Anna would need to return to the hospital every week for 2 days of observation. Christy went silent. The hospital in Boston was nearly 2,000 miles away from home. Even without counting the treatment cost, just the plane tickets each week were overwhelming. But for her daughter, she gritted her teeth and said yes, she was willing to do it. Soon, Anna began the first phase of treatment. Her stomach was still swollen, but without the feeding tube, she finally smiled again. However, as treatment continued, the side effects hit even harder than the doctor had expected. Every night, Anna suffered from unbearable stomach pain. Nothing could stop it. No medicine, no position, no comfort. Day and night, the pain tormented Anna's little body and slowly crushed Christy's heart.
I want to die. Maybe if you went to heaven, you wouldn't be with me and Daddy anymore. I'm sorry, Mommy. I don't want to make you sad.
Anna eventually gave up. She stopped eating, refused to bathe, and wouldn't cooperate with any treatment. Christy was frustrated, but at that point, she had no strength left either. The long treatments and rising expenses had drained everything out of this once strong mother. She sat helplessly by the window, picked up her phone, and called home. Crying through the lines, she told her husband, "We're done. Let's just bring her home." On the day Anna was discharged, Dr. Nurko personally walked her to the door. He felt heartbroken, knowing he couldn't save this poor little girl. He forced a smile, trying to hide his sadness. As Anna walked away, Dr. Nurko stood still at the entrance and let out a quiet sigh. But as painful as things already were, fate still wasn't done with this child. After returning home, Anna fell into deep depression. She sat silently by the door every day, just waiting for death. To cheer her up, her sister Abby took her to the backyard. She suggested they climb the big tree like they used to when they were little. At first, Anna wanted to say no, but Abby gently encouraged her. And finally, Anna reached out her hand, and soon they were both up in the tree again. The two sisters sat in the tree, gazing at the beautiful view in the distance, happily chatting about their childhood memories. Anna finally smiled, a real smile she hadn't shown in a long time. But just then, a thick branch beneath them suddenly sagged, splitting open with a loud crack. The sound terrified them. Abby quickly told Anna to go first, to climb toward the center of the tree for safety. But in the very next second, the unthinkable happened. Hearing Abby scream, Kevin rushed over with a ladder. He leaned it against the tree and peered down into the hollow trunk, but the tree was too deep, pitch black inside. He couldn't see anything at all. Panicked and helpless, he called 911. 10 minutes later, firefighters arrived at the scene and immediately started the rescue. But it turned out to be way harder than expected. The tree was very old and they couldn't just cut it down. That would risk injuring Anna even more. The only safe option was to use an aerial ladder and slowly lift her out from the top. While the firefighters were doing their best, reporters who showed up were not optimistic at all. The tree was over 30 feet tall, and Anna had fallen headfirst into the hollow. The chance of her surviving seemed nearly zero. When someone mentioned that Anna might already be dead, Christy clutched her chest, her eyes darting around in shock. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The fear of losing her daughter shattered the strong, hopeful woman she had always been. Crying uncontrollably, Christy walked to the base of the tree, fell to her knees, and pressed her forehead against the trunk. She begged the heavens for mercy, to spare her poor little girl. Everyone nearby was moved. People stepped forward one by one, gathering around Christy to pray for Anna with all their hearts. They hoped, just maybe, a miracle could happen. After 3 long hours, Anna was finally pulled out of the tree. As her limp body was gently lowered to the ground, she looked like a lifeless rag doll. Kevin and Christy's hearts twisted in fear, terrified that what they were about to receive was just a cold, lifeless body. Just when they had lost all hope, a miracle happened.
She's breathing.
When Christy found out her daughter was still alive, her knees gave out, and she almost collapsed. But the real shock was yet to come. After a full examination, the doctors were stunned. Anna had fallen nearly 30 feet down the tree, yet she had no head injury, not even a scratch. All she needed was a little glucose to boost her energy, and she could go home. Christy couldn't understand it. It just didn't make sense. But then, the next morning, another miracle happened. She noticed Anna's stomach had returned to normal, and Anna, smiling wide, said she was hungry for barbecue. Christy didn't even have time to celebrate. She quickly took Anna to Boston for a detailed checkup with Dr. Nurko. After reviewing the results, even Dr. Nurko was speechless. Overnight, Anna's body had completely healed. There was no scientific explanation. Back home, Anna's story went viral. Everyone believed it was an act of God. The media swarmed in, and soon Anna's whole family was invited to speak at church. But as Christy stood there and looked at all the hopeful faces, she didn't know what to say, because deep down, she knew the miracle wasn't just about God showing up. It was about the kindness they had received throughout their journey. It was Anna's classmate who never treated her differently. It was the kind waitress who gave them discounts when they couldn't afford food. It was the ticket agent at the airport who pretended the system glitched so they could use expired coupons to buy flights. It was the hospital receptionist who risked her job just to squeeze Anna in for an early appointment. It was their neighbor who quietly hid her baby in the car so the crying wouldn't disturb Anna's rest. As Christy spoke, her eyes filled with tears. She didn't know for sure if God was real, but she knew that kindness, courage, strength, and love without conditions, those were the most beautiful miracles in the world.